Gary gave every weapon a number. Most DMs throw it away. And here's what you guys are throwing away. So I am DM Angelo. This is the DM and Friends. Today we are on week 2 of the AD&D mechanics arc. And we're covering the rule most tables call optional and quietly stop using. And that's weapon speed factors. So here's the truth. Weapon speed factors aren't a general initiative system, right? Even though I've seen people do it this way, a lot of house rules. Gary didn't write them to reorder every attack in every round, right? He wrote them for 3 specific situations, and in most situations they changed the fight completely, right? We're going through all 3 of them in this video. So if this channel's been helping you guys out to run better AD&D, and community is where this continues. So join our community, link below, subscribe, become a member if you like. Let's get into the rule. All right, you guys, so what is weapon speed factor, right? So in the DMG, this guy right here, and I'm using my non-destroyed copy here. If you look on page 62, right, Gary defines weapon speed factor as the wieldliness, right, if that's even a word, of a weapon, right? How long it takes to ready, right? And how long it takes to recover after an attack, right? So that's really what that number is, right? So a dagger has a speed factor of 2, right? Very, very short. The lower the number, the shorter it is, right? It's very fast, right? A dagger, right? Think about it. The length, the wieldiness, all that stuff, right? It's ready almost before you decide to even use it. It's so fast. Now a longsword has 5, right? A two-handed sword is 10. A pike is 13. Gary notes it requires lowering, grasping, and bracing after each thrust, right? Small numbers mean faster weapons. Higher weapons, higher numbers means slower weapons, right? So got it. So but when do you use these numbers? Actually, when do you use them? And what does it actually matter, right? Well, Gary gives us 3, right? First, simultaneous initiative, right? Second, multiple attacks from weapons disparity, right? Third, interrupting a spellcaster. So those are the 3 times weapon speed factors step into combat, right? Not every round, these 3 situations, right? So let's talk about situation number 1, right? So you and the opponent both rolled the same number on initiative, right? Tie. It's a tie, right? In AD&D, ties mean simultaneous action, right? Both sides act at the same time exactly. Damage accrues both regardless, right? But there is an exception, right? If you use AD&D at raw, right? Rules as written. DMG page 65, I think I said the wrong page earlier. 65, when both opponents are using weapons in initiative ties, the lower speed factor strikes first, right? Gary writes it plainly. A blow from a fist occurs before a blow with a dagger, right? A dagger before a short sword before a hammer, and so on. The lower speed factor number on the weapon, right? If you and a goblin tie initiative, right, and you're holding a dagger while he swings a hand axe, your speed 2 beats speed 4. You strike first. It's not simultaneous anymore, right? It's a tiebreaker by the weapon that Gary gave you, right? And this is why weapon choice matters beyond damage dice, right? The speed factor is the backup system that prevents, the most boring outcome in combat, right? The eternal reroll, I guess. So situation number 2, right? Multiple attacks from disparity, right? So weapon speed factor can also earn you additional attacks, not from class abilities, from the difference between your weapon and your opponent's, right? Remember, this is raw. Gary sets 2 thresholds. Both are about how far apart the speed factors are, right? DMG page 66. if the difference between the weapons is at least 2 the lower factor, right? Or 5 or more. In any case, the fighter with the lower factor gets 2 attacks before the opponent lands any. You attack twice before they swing once. Crazy, huh? If the difference is 10 or greater, you get 2 attacks first. And then the third attack in the same moment, they finally get their 1 attack, right? Boom! Mind blown, right? Example here, right? So the speed of a dagger is 2, right? We all know that, right? Versus a 2-handed sword at speed 10, right? Craziness here, right? Difference is 8, okay? That's more than twice the dagger factor of 2, right? And it's more than 5, right? So the dagger user attacks twice before the 2-hander can respond, right? But man, I hope that 2-handed sword doesn't hit you, right? This is why the fast, light weapon against a slow, heavy weapon, right, is a genuine tactical choice, not just a damage optimization, right? So, situation number 3. This is crazy, okay? Doing some research on this, a lot of us probably don't know this, right? So interrupting spellcasters, right? This is the one that matters the most, I think, at the table. If you play this way, right? Can you cut off a spell before it goes off, right? So let's say a spell casting time is measured in segments, right? A fireball is 3 segments, right? Magic missile is 1. Magic missile is so fast. All you got to do is point. I don't even know if magic missile is, I have to look it up if it's a somatic or verbal or somatic. I think it might only be verbal. Anyways, tell me in the comments. I have to look it up. I don't remember. But anyways, the weapon speed factor is compared, sorry, squirrel. The weapon speed factor is compared against a spell casting time to determine, if the weapon can connect before the spell completes, right? So Gary example on page 66, a sword with a speed factor 5 against a fireball at 3 segments. If the sword side lost initiative by 1, okay, the spell goes first, right? Lost by 2, simultaneous. Lost by 3, 4, 5, the sword has a chance to strike before the fireball is completed, right? A dagger of 2, a dagger of speed factor 2, it will strike prior to the spell completion if the initiative die roll is lost by 1 through 4. I mean, the difference between initiative dies, right? A 2-handed sword at a speed of 10 has got no chance to interrupt the fireball, right? None. That's an elegant game design. And I wonder how a lot of you guys, because most DMs that I know have a modified initiative system, including myself. And man, I'm going to start using this. Oof, my player's going to kill me. So this is an elegant design, you guys. The dagger is the spell breaker. Let's call our daggers the spell breakers, right? The two-handed weapons that are slow are not, right? Gary built that difference into speed factor, not into a feat, not into a class ability, into a number on the weapon table that anybody could use if they have it, if they're wielding that weapon, right? So, so there's 3 situations, right? 3 situations, and that's the rule, and that's all this rule asks, right? Don't try to apply weapon speed factor to every round of combat, right? Gary didn't write it all that way. Apply it when initiative ties. Apply it when there's a large speed disparity, right? And apply it when your fighters might be able to cut off a spell, right? One more thing. Gary notes that weapon speed is not applicable when charging or closing to melee, right? That first round is where everybody kind of runs together. Speed factor doesn't apply. After that it does. Usually with charging, the way I do it, and I think it's in the rule book this way correctly, it's usually the longer weapon, right? So you guys tell me in the comments, are you running weapon speed factors, right? And if not, which of these 3 situations would make the most difference at your table when you play this Saturday or Wednesday or whatever day you play, right? All right, you guys, I am DM Angelo. Keep gaming. I love you guys. I love White Monster. Love my music. And I love Advanced D&D. All right, you guys, keep gaming. Take care of yourself. And bye-bye.